It's
All
the
right, Betsy
final
John.
countdown. Do a little dance if you're excited, cause it's the final countdown. Buddy walk, buddy walk, buddy walk.
So I can't wait to see the recording when Alyssa comes in and she overlays that. So you actually have like a chorus behind you, Betsy John, as well. So that is awesome. All right, thank you for opening us up here. So as I am sure you know, we are preparing for Buddy Walk next month. I was just counting today; it's 6.5 weeks away, and this is our final countdown to get you all ready to rock and roll. So we're going to be back at Sug Farm in Holly Springs again this year. It's a great venue. We're going to be there on Sunday, October 19th from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Our buddy walk is really a pep rally, or I'm sorry, tonight is going to be a pep rally meets info session for our buddy walk, since that is also its own party. Here comes Micah. What we want to do tonight is just make you walk away feeling excited and prepared to build your team and fundraise, and also just give you some information about buddy walk in general, and what to prepare for the day of for anybody who's coming to their first buddy walk this year. So we'll share some resources with you and best practices and inspiration. Like I was saying before, we'd love to have you share as well. We want to make sure that we're helping facilitate a successful fundraising and team building season here in our lead up to the big day. And we want you to leave here being ready and excited to be your best captain self. And before we really get started here, too, if you know of anybody in the community who is not yet signed up for Buddy Walk, have them do that. So the more that you can kind of tap into your network and say, hey, are you guys ready to get, you're coming, right? We would love that. And we'll talk a little bit later about a way that Vicky actually invites newcomers in who might not be ready to form their own team yet, but she invites them to be a part of the day. All right. Our agenda tonight is the overview of the Buddy Walk. So I'll cover some of those high points that you might want to know as you're getting prepared for the big day. We're going to have Amber and Vicky tell us about recruiting team members. They're fantastic about getting folks to come out and join their teams and have a big party with us. Creating your fundraising strategy with David and Jeff. Engaging community sponsors, and organizing a fundraising event. And then Amy's going to cover our team captain incentives and make sure she answers any questions y'all might have about those. We'll talk about resources and tips with Ebony, our events coordinator, who we are so thrilled to have on board this year. So she'll share a little bit about what she's offering to make sure you're set up well. We'll do some Q&A, although please go ahead and put it in the chat as we go. Betsy John is monitoring that chat, and she may just sing for every question that comes in there. So like, keep them coming.
It's the final countdown.
Exactly. And then we'll do a summary just to make sure that we have covered everything. We will also share the recording of this out later as well. So don't feel that you have to take notes or anything like that. And we'll share our summary and resources and tips slides too, so you have those to walk away with. All right. So this is our biggest fundraiser of the year and biggest party of the year. So if you have not been to Buddy Walk before, it is a tailgate meets family reunion, is how I like to put it. So it is a ton of fun. I never make it around the entirety of the Buddy Walk. I'm always too busy, like going and talking to everybody and just hugging all these people that I might not get to see during a busy year, but a lot of them come out to Buddy Walk. So it's really exciting to be able to connect with our families in one spot at the same time in a really fun environment. It is going to be at Sug Farm, like I said, which is a big open field. Fingers crossed, we'll have beautiful weather just like we did last year. But sunscreen's probably a good idea. Comfy shoes. There's going to be porta potties since it isn't an open field, so it's going to be a little bit of uneven terrain. So just be prepared for all of that as you're thinking about what you might want to pack or wear for the day. I would say that the dress code is spirited casual. So this is a great time to break out your Buddy Walk team shirts if you have them, or wear your blue and yellow. Get your, I don't know if you can actually see it. I think Zoom is blurring it out, but I've got my Buddy Walk earrings on here, which are very glittery blue and yellow. So this is a great opportunity for all of that. We're going to have games. We're going to have a soft tent for our younger kiddos coming to visit. We're going to have bouncy houses, food trucks. There's even going to be a helicopter. You might have already caught that. That was super popular last year. And a DJ and an MC. So just lots of fun stuff going on. I would make sure that you don't go too far from the DJ and MC because they do come in with some great announcements from time to time. Another tip I would give you is that we're going to walk at 3:21, but it's a great thing to get that team together a little bit in advance. Maybe you grab some photos before you start walking, but assemble that team because we're all going to line up at the start line and walk at 3:21. It's a quarter-mile walk. And we're going to have the walk lined on both sides with fantastic route marker. They have photos of our loved ones with Down syndrome from this year and years past all along the route. I always get a crick in my neck from trying to look at all of the photos. So be prepared for that. And then as you cross the finish line there, we have medals for our loved ones who are rocking that extra chromosome. So we will announce that ahead of time so that you know exactly when that is and can get your team together and walk together because it's a lot of fun if you get to walk with your team. Uh, and we ask that you please leave pets at home and let your team know that too. We do have, pets have mixed reviews from people who might be in attendance. So we just ask that we keep all of our furry friends at home for this one and tell them about the fun later. All right. Amber and Vicky, I will turn this over to you. Can you share a little bit about how you recruit those awesome teams?
Hey, Vicky's off camera, so I will start. I think maybe she might be preoccupied for a second with her little itty bitty new baby, but we invite basically everybody we know. Um, I invite the kids' classes. I invite all of our family and friends. I kind of really promote this as a family fun day. I invite our friends from work. I invite their kids. I say, hey, join our team. This is really, if you join the team, it's a free day of entertainment for your children. The NCDSA puts this together. There's bounce houses, there's music, there's dancing, there's bubbles, there's face painting, and I really say this is a family fun day, and it's a day to interact with folks with Down syndrome. And sometimes that's not always something that people get to do. And I feel like it's a way to interact with our community on our turf where we are the folks in a heavy population and not the minority. And maybe we're not necessarily on the defensive, but on the offensive. So it's somebody coming into our territory rather than our little ones going into other people's territories where they might feel uncomfortable. So I think it's a way for the community to interact with us rather than the Down syndrome community to interact with the public. So it feels like maybe it can be us welcoming folks in. And then they can play with us and see how we can interact with each other and really have that space to see that, hey, everybody's just hanging out, doing the same things and having the same type of fun and easily to be celebrated. And I also tell everybody when we say it's a walk, it's not really a walk because some people are like, I don't want to do another walk. And I'm like, hey, it's just one loop around the grass track. We all walk at a very casual pace and we're cheering and we're not out here to, put a medal on anybody's chest or qualify you for the New York City or the Boston Marathon. You're not going to get qualifying points for at our walk, but you are going to have lots of fun that day. And it's family friendly for everybody. And you can bring your stroller and it's going to be okay.
I think that's an excellent point. That it is not a marathon. It's not even a 5K. It is a quarter-mile walk. So all are welcome. and it's pretty accessible. So I think that's a really good point to make too. And Vicky, did you want to chime in about the
Yes, I can
new
talk. Sorry,
families?
it's very loud here. I apologize.
That's
Um,
okay.
the same as what Amber said, we always make a point to invite like Jamie's teachers, all of his therapists, all the people who are very supportive of our community all year round. It's just a fun time to celebrate with them. Um, each year we always seem to end up the same this year with some families who have younger children than Jamie with Down syndrome who just maybe didn't feel quite ready to make their own team or for whatever reason felt maybe that was just a bit too big of a task. So we invite them to join our team so that they still get to come and enjoy the day and just don't maybe feel the pressure. Um, and then I always also say that we have a lot of people who walk with us from afar. Obviously, I am not from North Carolina, so my family are actually coming this year from Scotland to the Buddy Walk. Um, but usually, obviously, they cannot do that. So we still encourage them to make a donation and wear a Down syndrome awareness t-shirt and just do something at home in their community on that day because not only is it about raising funds for our organization, it's also about promoting awareness and acceptance. Um, but yeah, just invite everyone you know because it's a grand old time.
Yes, that is
I think we're
exactly
gonna
right.
have an award for the furthest traveled Scotland. Yeah, yeah.
I like it. We should have some bagpipes too, actually, just because I like bagpipes, and this is an excuse.
I'm gonna chime
Right.
in on that because we actually had a neighbor last year who their cousin has Down syndrome and they happened to be in from Poland last year and they came to our buddy walk because they knew it was happening at the same time. So we did have some visitors in from Poland last year at our buddy walk. So if they're traveling the same time this year, maybe they will come again.
That's
We might be in a
amazing.
competition for this traveling.
That's great. Healthy competition. It's great. All right. Before we move on to fundraising, I want to do a quick temperature check because this is my excuse to get these adorable photos in front of you all every year. So, you can raise your hand in Zoom or kind of say +1 in the chat, but let me know, how are you all feeling about fundraising? Is it kind of not not so sure about that? It's a little intimidating, like our friend over here on the left. Is it a stretch, but you're going to get there? Betsy John's doing her stretches now, getting ready for fundraising. Or are you like our friend Lyra over here and you feel like completely ready to take on the world? You got this. Let's see. All right, Liz, that's positive. Stretch to, yes, stretch, but you'll get there. Yeah, awesome. Amber, we've got this. David, we've got this. That's great. That's why you guys are here, right? Awesome. Jeff's got this. Right. Good, good. I'm glad that our speakers are feeling confident so they can share their expertise with us. That's perfect. All right. So let me go ahead and move on to our new speaker. We are thrilled to have David Train with us. This is actually his first buddy walk with his adorable little boy, Callum. But he actually is an expert in this area. So we asked him to come in and tell us a little bit about how we invite others into our story. So when you're thinking about putting together what you're going to say, which for me is the most intimidating, like, how am I going to open this conversation? David actually has some fantastic framework here for us to think about. So David, welcome to the
Thank
community, and
you.
thank you so much for helping us out tonight.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate everyone that's on this call, and thank you for having us and inviting our family into this story as we start our own story with Down syndrome. And that's the biggest thing that we talk about when I train my team when it comes to a fundraising standpoint. So, how do we take fundraising, we flip it on its head? Because a lot of times people take fundraising, they only think about raising money, but in actuality, the whole premise of fundraising is because you're inviting someone into your story because you want to make the maximum impact you possibly can because there's this beautiful thing that has happened. For us, let me just give you a story. Last night, I came home and Jenny told me something about our little niece told her. So our niece, who's trying to figure out what her major is going to be, called her up, FaceTimed her, and started crying. And she was crying because, she was really struggling with like, what am I going to do? Like, what's going to be my major? And through Callum, she has decided to do physical therapy
For special needs.
for special needs.
The special needs community.
And just as simple as just allowing someone to be a part of the story creates transformation. And that's just one story. You guys probably have all sorts of stories that you can share and talk about, or even the story for Jenny and I when we found out that our little Callum man has Down syndrome. Like at first, we were kind of like, okay, what does that look like? Me as a guy, I'm thinking financially. Like, okay, so do I need to create like a trust fund? Like, in my head, I'm thinking down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road. Jeannie's just thinking about getting out of the bed because we just had the baby. So it's kind of funny how that works. But ultimately, it just got us so excited about one, this journey and the beauty of Down syndrome. And then also just for our family, it's brought our family so much closer because for us, it's more like what we're going to unify our times, our talents, our treasures around Callum and allow him to live out his dreams. And so with fundraising, that's what we're doing. We're just flipping it on its head and saying, no, it's not just about money. It's about inviting people into the story and allowing them to experience the joy and celebration of these beautiful people that I don't feel like there's enough celebration around. Like sadly enough, I was talking to someone about this and like some of the conversations we've had was, oh, like it's almost like a they're slamming on the brakes saying, "Oh, how are you?" Like as if something bad happened and nothing bad did happen. Every kid has their thing, right? And so for us, it really is saying like, how do we celebrate this new adventure as a family? And for every single one of you, that's what you're doing. You're celebrating your story, you're celebrating life, and part of fundraising is just inviting them into your story. So a lot of times when I train my teams, we go through this 4 core competencies, and it's actually pretty simple. So don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to do it. So a lot of times what we do is we allow our teammates to just ask questions. Hey, and I'll use this towards Down syndrome or special needs. Like, do you know what Down syndrome is? Like start educating people and start actively listening to like what their answers or questions or whatever it could be. And then from there, once you can kind of like find common ground with their thinking and understanding what we're doing by actively listening to their answers, it allows us to go into a personal transformable story. So the best way that I always talk about to I hate to say it this way, but to sell anything or to tell a story is tell your own personal story and get really good at it. Because we all have a really amazing story. Everybody on here has an amazing story. Well, just tell your story. That's all you have to do. And then the next part is authentic friendship. Like most of the people that you're probably going up to are friends and families. And when I talk about authentic friendship, a lot of times, if we flipped it on its head, we're trying to say, hey, you're someone that we care about. Allow you guys to be a part of our story and care about what we care about. Because people do, they want to care about what you care about. And you don't have to be pushy, right? There's nothing pushy about it. It's just you're really saying, this is what I care about. I just want you to be a part of what we care about as a friend. And even when you're going out and getting sponsors, one of the things that I was laughing about was like, well, my tactic is going to be I'm just going to have them hold Callum while I'm asking. Jokingly, but there is some truth in that. So I'll leave it at that. But ultimately, it's also allowing people to just be a part of the story, even when you're going to get sponsorships for their businesses. And then I always call it the noble ask framework because when when you're asking for dollars or when you're asking for money or in-kind donations or even asking for grants, the whole premise is it's not a sleazy car salesman ask. It's for a noble cause. And what's more noble than helping a nonprofit that's helping families across North Carolina figure out life is the best way to think of it. And that's why we have to flip it on its head because ultimately fundraising is not just about dollars and physical stuff. It's allowing people to to learn, to grow, and to just be a part of something bigger than themselves. And when you go ask someone to be a part of the story, you're asking them to actually be bigger, be a part of something bigger than where they're currently sitting or standing. So philosophically, that's the way we have to think about it, and we have to flip on its head. And there's all sorts of great strategies that you can do in events, and and that's the cool thing because you can get really creative when it comes to fundraising. But we also have to remember that, again, fundraising is more than just asking for dollars. It's inviting people into that story so that they can also be transformed. So thank you for listening to me. That was really quick. Normally I take a team through a 4-day training session where we practice our stories and we like role play and then we come up with strategies and all that stuff. So you guys got a very small condensed version. But one thing I can say to take from this is a noble cause. Like fundraising for what we're doing is a noble cause because we're asking people to be a part of a transformative story. So if that's so everything that you think of fundraising in that way.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Next year, we'll ask you to host a 4-day fundraising
I was gonna
intensive.
say we will have a lead up to the final countdown. Oh, that was fabulous.
So, all right. And there's Betsy John now. So fundraising tips. So Jeff, I would love to invite you in, and David too, if you want to join in and just kind of share some of those, like some nitty gritty tactics here that we might be able to use to tell that story.
Well, I mean, I think David said it really well, and it's tell your story and be authentic. I think so many people are really nervous about approaching a company and asking for sponsorship or dollars because they have this thing in their mind that they think that they've got to have this polished script that they're going to follow. And that's what's going to convince them to sponsor NCDSA. That's not what's going to convince them. They have people approaching them every day, all day with a polished script. What they want to see from you is authenticity. They want to hear about how NCDSA has personally impacted your family, other families that you know of. And one thing I always try to do too is, I start off with sort of telling them my story or our family story if I've never spoken with them before. But I also stress the things that NCDSA is doing to impact the community too. Because, a lot of us that are involved with NCDSA or, are following it, we know what NCDSA is doing. But so many people out there aren't that close to it, especially first-time sponsors you're approaching. So I talk to them about things like the new clinic at UNC. I tell them about Camp Shine. There's a video that was on Spectrum One about Camp Shine. If you Google Spectrum One NCDSA, you'll find the video. And I've started including that in my emails to sponsors and saying, hey, here's an example of some of the things that we're doing. I also always tell them about how when we received our diagnosis, the first person outside of our family that said congratulations to us was a parent mentor from NCDSA. And that really was so impactful for us because it was like, the world was spinning. Everybody was saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I actually had somebody here doing some service work to the house the other day. I told him that our daughter had Down syndrome. He said, I'm so sorry. I'm like, man, I'm 7 years in. Like, there's nothing to be sorry about. Trust me, she's awesome. But they think of it as this negative thing. But the other thing that I found too in talking to people is you'll be surprised how many people have some connection to somebody with Down syndrome, whether that's an aunt, a cousin, somebody at their church, somebody in their kid's class at school, whatever. And they immediately sort of relate to that person in their life, and they want to help. And so, David, you said it really well. Tell your story, be authentic. Now, get to the bullet points here. Organize and strategize. One thing that I do, if I'm going after a bunch of sponsors, I have a spreadsheet that I use. It's just a simple Excel spreadsheet. Column A is, the person's name. Column B is the business name. Column C is like phone number and email. And column D is, where did I sort of leave it off with them? If I get a like, hey, well, let me think about it, I'll put down the date and I'll put down sort of where we left off. And, usually I'll give them about a week or so, and then I'll follow up with them again. So I think keeping track of who you're talking to is important. But, this first bullet point is, who do you and your family interact with regularly? I've had sponsors from therapy clinics that my daughter Hannah goes to, different business owners that go to our church that see Hannah every Sunday. A lot of them jump in and do it and do a sponsorship. Think about who you interact with, who your family uses for services in the community, and approach them, especially if they have had interactions or, seen your child with Down syndrome. And then bullet 2, enlist your family to help fundraise. I'm very fortunate. My stepmother, Kat, is an awesome fundraiser. And if they have anyone come to their house for any reason, she asks them to donate and sponsor NCDSA. But building the network, you've only got so much time. You've got a family to take care of. A lot of people have a job they've got to go to. So if you can enlist friends and family to go out there and help you fundraise, what do they call it? Crowdfunding. Put them to work. Let them tell the story, invite them to the team. And I always tell them, like, hey, come walk with us. Don't feel pressure to do some, big fundraising ask or this huge push, but, every dollar goes to make a difference. So yes, enlist your family and friends to help you. Sponsor packets are a great thing that you can drop off. So let's go say you stop into just a random business. You've got a little sheet, like a little one sheet that has like a picture of your child on it, her name, about your family, a QR code to your team page on it that they can quickly scan. A leave behind is always good if you're dropping in on somebody, because they're on the phone or they're doing whatever. And it's something also that if you're not able to get directly to the boss, it's something that they can then give to the business owner and say, hey, this guy stopped by, really cute kid, great organization from what he's talking about. And then obviously include a link to the website or social media as well. And then, yes, this last bullet, track, follow up, and thank. So one thing that I do, anybody that sponsors Team Lineberry, I'll put up a post on Facebook thanking them for doing so. And it's not necessarily like that post is going to get a bunch of business for them, but it's a public way to thank them. I've tagged their company. They're seeing it. They see people that like it. And it's just a tangible that they know that people appreciate it beyond just me saying thank you. Socials. I have never had a lot of luck with socials. Now, I know that we've got a team, is it Ellie's Angels? I'm forgetting.
Ellie's Extras.
Ellie's Extras, I'm sorry. They're a great fundraising team. And Heather, who's the mom, has done amazing on social media with fundraising. So absolutely, post links to your page, post the reasons why you're walking and fundraising, give the people the why you're doing it. And then always make sure to include a link to your team page so it's easy for them to then click and donate or join you. One thing I always do on social media too, to just soften the ask a little bit, is say, hey, we'd love to have your sponsorship or a donation from you, but we'd also love to have you join our team as well. So it's not just a money ask, it's inviting them in to be a part of the team. One other big thing, a lot of people are scared of hearing the words no. Hey, listen, that no lets you check that person off your spreadsheet and move on to the next one. So, in a way, getting a no is a success in some ways because now you can move on to prospects that may actually sponsor you. I'm under the thinking that if you don't ask somebody, if you don't tell them your why you're doing something, they don't know to even be able to help you. And so even when I've gotten no's in the past, nobody's ever been annoyed. Nobody's ever been like, how dare you contact me to sponsor this amazing organization? It's never been that. It's always been, hey, we've already made our commitments for this year, so we're not able to sponsor you, but maybe reach out next year. Or, we're just not in a position to be able to do that this year, but, really appreciate you asking. Even when they've said that, they're always like, it sounds like an amazing organization. I wish I could, support you. So don't be scared to hear no. People aren't going to be nasty. And again, it's just a way for you to get them off the list and move on to the next one. Yeah. And, one other last thing too, if there's a big company, around you, if you've got some sort of in some way, even if it's a small company, what I found interesting is it's actually easier to get donations and sponsorships from smaller to mid-sized companies than it is from bigger companies. So the small mom and pop, the, small little kids gym, therapy place, whatever, they often enough have the budget for marketing dollars. They want to help the community, and they sort of see it as a way to kill two birds with one stone. So don't think you got to go march into Volvo and meet with the CEO. Look around your neighborhood, see who's there, and go approach them and just stop in.
That's a great point. And Pledge It does allow you to kind of send some emails from there. Individual phone emails and phone calls are a great idea. Like I like to, Jeff is much better about getting on the phone. I have a long way to go before I'm like any of our panelists tonight. I'm in my beginner stages, but I do like to reach out to our former team members from Team Mellow Kello years past and just say, hey, it's coming up again. We'd love to have you join us in spirit or in person. Here's what's going on. If you can't do that, we'd love for you to consider making a donation. And we've been pretty successful with that approach, and it feels more comfortable to me because I kind of leave them an out. It's very kind of a light touch, but it seems like it's an effective touch. So that's another way to do it. I also had a really interesting interaction last year where I took Jeff's advice after our final countdown, and I thought, who are we interacting with? And I asked my son's private speech therapist. She's part of a kind of a larger group of therapists, and asked them about, whether they would be a sponsor or contribute in any way, if they wanted to be vendors, like any of that stuff. And it didn't come together last year, but it turns out that his speech therapist sister, her job is to choose where this larger company puts its dollars. And so she said, could you give me that info again? And she forwarded it to her sister. And her sister actually lives in my neighborhood. She had run into Kellen before, and I had no idea that was her job. But because she had met Kellen, this is her sister, and because of her unique job, then we have that sponsorship, not just last year, but for Gala and again for this year. And this year, his speech therapist office is actually they've formed a team of volunteers. So even though we're not getting them as a sponsor, we have a whole team of speech therapists from Capital City that are going to be coming out and volunteering together during the Buddy Walk. So I'm super excited. They've also been spreading the word to help recruit volunteers. So you just never know what you're going to get when you put it out there. And we're always happy to have any sort of contribution. It doesn't even necessarily need to be a sponsorship. Sometimes we might find that somebody might want to make an in-kind donation for Gala or for Buddy Walk, or form a team of volunteers, or anything like that. So any support is really, really welcome. So I'd also just say here too, when you're fundraising, like if one door seems to close, there might be some other doors that are open that are still really helpful to NCDSA.
I've actually had some companies that I approached that said, hey, we can't do it as a company, but then they'll, make a donation personally for $250, which is great. That's, almost three welcome baby bag kits and connecting somebody with, parent mentor. So you never know what's going to come in, but I can guarantee you this, you will get zero out of not asking.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely
Very
agree.
true.
Always make an ask.
100%.
Drop my. It's the final countdown. Great advice, sir. Extraordinaire champion.
And Betsy John, while I have you, do we have any questions in the chat so far?
No questions coming through yet. Just great advice, great takeaways, people ready to put it into action tomorrow. So I feel already the stretching, moving to a flexing. Let's go, team. Let's go.
Awesome. All right, Amber and Vicky, you two are our hostesses with the mostesses. I'm not sure how to say that. But can you tell us a little bit about your fundraising events?
Sure. So this year, just the other day there, we did a fundraiser at a new zoo that just opened 5 months ago in Broadway, which is near where we are. And so they opened about 5 months ago, and we went to visit as a family and just noticed they had a lot of very inclusive aspects about the zoo. Like they have a lot of communication boards, and there are a lot of signs about sensory areas and quiet spaces. And I just sent an email, not even thinking about this, saying like, I really appreciated that. And as a mom to someone who has special needs, I, just thought that was great and da da da. And it turns out the owner's daughter has autism, so he was very passionate about these things, and we connected that way. And I just said, oh, like I'm involved with the NCDSA, and told him what that was, and he was very, very willing to do literally whatever we wanted. He's like, well, we want to help you. Like, how can we do that? Do you want your group to come out for free? We can close the zoo for the day and just have a Down syndrome group come, or we can do this, or we can do this. So we worked with them to choose a date, and they donated 100% of the tickets sold between 2 and 7 p.m. on Sunday there, and that raised over $3,000 that they just donated right away. And they're very they want to work with us again. They were very generous in doing that, but it was just finding that connection. Even though it's not the same disability, it was just like a disability connection. It was very natural. When we asked, they were very forthcoming. But events like that, I think, are great because to me, it feels like you're getting something too as a participant. So people wanted to come because they want to go to the zoo, right? It's a fun thing to do on a long weekend, and people came to get an experience, and all of the money that they paid for their ticket came straight back to the organization. This year I also did a raffle and sold raffle tickets, and all of the prizes that I had purchased were from vendors who either had Down syndrome or who work with people who have Down syndrome. So I thought that was kind of a cool way also to highlight some businesses in our community. I did say to Chrissy, I've been struggling this year with social media and feeling like maybe my posts are not getting a lot of visibility, especially when I'm posting repetitive kind of content. Like I feel like every time I post my Buddy Walk pledge it link, it's not getting seen very much. But by putting it in different groups on Facebook, I think that's maybe part of the key, especially when I was posting about the zoo in all our different NCDSA groups. It seemed to get a lot of traction there, and a lot of people certainly saw it because they ended up coming out. So that's, I think, a good tip too, is to use the Facebook groups to advertise. But as always, I love to do a raffle or something because I think people are more likely to give you $10 or $20 if they think there's a chance that they might get something in return. Who doesn't love a fun prize or incentive? So that's what we've been doing this year. I know Amber has some things also coming up this year.
We do. I missed the zoo trip. We were out of town. Vicky did not consult with me before she planned her event, so I missed it. We have some events coming up. Every year we do a pizza party at a pizza joint that we've been going to. My husband's been going to since high school. So we just approached them and said, hey, we would love to do a fundraiser, and would you all be willing to partner with us? And would you be willing to donate a percentage of sales? And they said, yep, sign us up. And they donate 10% of the day's sales every year. It works out for them and it works out for us because it's a decent sized donation. It's usually around $2,000+ every year. And then we always pick a day that is not one of their high sales days. And then I do all the footwork and I promote like crazy, and then I bring in the sales. So I print out flyers, I make social media posts like crazy, I pound the pavement, hand out flyers to everybody in the community, I share it with everybody I know, get people to come in. Promoted all the schools, buy your mom lunch, buy your teacher's lunch, and they will donate sales throughout the day. We did a mom's night out there one year. And then I think the Duke Down Syndrome Clinic came and bought lunch last year. I know that some of the folks from Dr. Westmoreland's clinic that helped open the UNC clinic came last year. So a lot of the connections within our community came and just bought lunch that day. So that's something easy, and I would approach it for a place that knows you. Go to your Cheers and ask them, like somebody that knows you, somebody that you see often, somebody that a place that you frequent very often is a really easy ask. And say, hey, this is going to work out for both of us. I'm going to help bring in business on a really slow day for you. You're going to get extra sales. And if you could throw some of that back this way, it's a tax write-off for you. It makes you look really great in the community. We'll give you a little certificate or a sticker on the wall. We're going to take a big picture at the end. I actually went out and bought a big check. And we take a big check. And they get to have the big check. They put a picture on the wall with Rainy, and it's part of the fun every year. This year we're also partnered with Jenny's Ice Cream, and that's the event we have coming up in a couple weeks here. And they will donate 25% of their sales, and it's not the whole day, it's just a couple hours. And we are going to do it with as part of Rainy. It's on Rainy's birthday, so we're going to do it as like Rainy's birthday party and invite all of her friends. We've hired Sunny the Fun Fairy, which is one of the favorites from our community. She's going to come out and celebrate with us, and it's an outdoor area. Same thing, we're going to invite everybody we know to come out and join us. And they will donate 25% of their sales as well. And that's just like a regular fundraising promotion that Jenny's does. Like there's other standards, like I know that Jimmy John's has one and Mike's Subs has one. Like that's just a standard promotion that they do, that you can partner with some of the more corporate sponsors. And then you just got to do all the promotions for yourself and start inviting folks to have people show up. I think it's also important when we talk about these things and do these events is that we show up for our community. Like I want to be sure that I show up for Vicky's events, and I want to be sure that when you all have events that we come and we bring our friends and we show up and make sure that everybody is there promoting, and that we're there in community and solidarity and support of each other. We also do a church event. There is it's called Share the Plate at our church, and you sign up a year or so ahead of time, and you get to be the donation for one Sunday. You make a speech and you talk about your organization, and all of the donations from that day will go to your organization. So we do that one Sunday every year. So it's good to look for resources like that within your church community. Vicky and I partnered last year. Every year we do an aloe sale, but last year we decided to paint pots. So my daughter Rainey and her son Jamie got together and they painted little terracotta pots, and I planted aloes in them from an aloe that we've had for 10 years and just painted little baby aloe plants in them for free. and then sold them outside of our house for $15 for the pots. And then all of that went to the fundraiser. And we do the same thing. Like we will raffle off prizes or say, if you donate $10, you get this. If you donate $25, you get this. And it's all Team Rainy's Bears gear, a hat or stickers, or Rainy painted little canvases one year. And that was the prize that you got if you donated a certain amount of money. To go to what Vicky was saying, that folks feel like they're getting something back or they're getting something special for the money that they've donated, especially if it's coming directly from your kiddo or your kiddo created something that they can keep. I think it really makes folks feel attached to the mission and just really attached to our community and your kiddo specifically if they care about or have a connection with your kiddo.
And also another thing that Amber and I and several other teams also do is we have our own t-shirts also with like our team name and our team logo on them and sell those. And you can work with whichever t-shirt company you're using to do that to make sure that a percentage or a certain amount from each t-shirt sale goes straight back to the NCDSA also. And this year we're only selling white t-shirts, and we're going to host a tie-dye party and charge people $10 to come hang out and tie-dye their t-shirts. So that's just another way. And again, who doesn't like a nice t-shirt? Because everyone likes a nice physical thing to prove that they made a donation. So that's helpful too.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I've noticed that I can't remember if it's Custom Ink, Bonfire, or both of them, but they've kind of expanded to doing some other things like hats and stuff too. So if you want to do that with your team on it, but you wanted to go with something different for them to come out in, that it isn't a t-shirt, you now have that available to you as well, which is pretty cool.
I'm going to make a plug for the Threads and Lasers, which is a local company. So it's going back to your local community, and they're cheaper and they will donate more money back. And they also have a bazillion products that you can order. So I'll make another platform.
There was a question. Cindy, this is a great question. What app do you use if you were raffling a big prize basket? Need a good way to draw names. Liz said that she put numbers in a basket and had Ken draw the winner. Anything else y'all wanted to add into that?
Sorry, it's so loud here. There's also a website called Wheel of Names that I used a lot as a teacher. We've used that before for raffles too.
I've used that one too. Yep. Betsy John says Wheel of Names. We've all used that. It's very easy to use. So that's a good way to do it too. Although it is a lot more fun if you do have your loved one with DS pull the name. I will say that. That's my preference. All right.
And just for a quick pause, did the cat lady reference a cat shirt? Is that what you were saying? This company does cat sweaters or cat t-shirts for the gear? When they were talking about t-shirts, did you say also for your cats?
I don't know if they do cat. I don't know if they do cat things that they do like hats. I might have said hats.
Okay, I was like, next
like
level
trucker
cat lady.
okay, baseball hats,
yeah.
trucker hats. Yes.
Okay.
That if you wanted to do a different kind of swag, you also have that available. And as Amber was saying, she knows someone who does anything. Yes. Although that could be your fundraiser this year, Betsy John. You could sell bespoke cat sweaters.
Rename your team, Christy. Kellen and the Cats.
We may rename it from Mellow Kello to Yellen Kellen. Actually, the louder he gets, the more I'm very tempted to change the name on him. But Kellen and the Cats will be under consideration as well. All right. And Amy, I'm glad you are ready to speak. Can you kind of cover our team captain incentives with us for this year?
Yes. So this is the fun part. We do have incentive levels, so any of the teams who are fundraising should be getting emails every week from Ebony. If you're not, definitely please let us know. But that's to let you know where you are in the incentive levels, what prizes you've earned, and what you have on the horizon. So here are some of the levels that you can reach. We have the Walk of Fame sign, which was mentioned earlier. We line the route, the walk path with pictures. Lots of people like to have one every year because you can really look back and see how far you're your child's come and how big they've gotten over the years and the growth. So that's really fun to see. We also have a canvas tote bag, an NCDSA bag as an option. Sign My Yard. I'll show pictures in just a few minutes, but we have big Buddy Walk signs. And so if you're within a reasonable distance of the triangle, then the team will come out and sign your yard with big Buddy Walk signs. And you can also get a QR code sign from us as well if you'd like one. That way people can scan it who are coming by. Christy's had great luck. I'm really impressed with her. She's gotten like $250 this week from her neighborhood QR code sign. But that's a fun way to celebrate. I think right now that one of the signs is in Jeff's yard. He's always one of the first teams to hit that goal. And Callum's team is very close. They'll be there before we know it. Team name on the Buddy Walk t-shirt is at the 3210 level. VIP parking passes. So again, we'll show you in just a minute, but that closer access point is always handy because since we're there for several hours, people like to bring lots of goodies and, blankets and snacks and all the things. And this is just an easier way. You get to pull up close and skip the lines to get VIP access. Early entry for setup at 12 is at the $5,000 level. So if you want to come early and set up before the lines and before it gets busy, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine as well, but the option is yours. Also at that level, we have 2 custom fat heads. These really big signs. You'll send us a picture of your child. We'll have it cut out, and so you can have those. Or if you have other kids like siblings, we find that they really love the chance to go around with the big fat heads and dance around and have fun celebrating. And then we have the blue and yellow tent gating package as well, and the ultimate tent gating package, which comes in at the $10,000 level. And that's where we have a tent provided for those highest levels. It includes snacks, and they're really right up there by the starting line. So premier space for those top teams with the ultimate tent gating package. They get snacks, and then the ultimate goal is the golf cart for celebration. So those who hit the top goal of $10,000 also get the rental of a golf cart for the day so they can drive around in the fields. It's also wonderful for going to your car to get your items and your belongings and not have to drag them with you. But lots of fun with the golf cart. And we have some pictures on the next slide just to show you some of these. There you go. So on the left is Christy's son, Callan, driving the golf cart there, having a good time. We have Jeff's fat heads. That's exactly what that is. It would be your child, but we had to have fun with Jeff and pick on him because he hit it first last year, of course. But these, large fat heads for fun. And then on the right, we have just a picture to show you how close the VIP parking is. We do have about 2,000 attendees generally at the Buddy Walk. So very quickly that field of parking lot fills. And so if you've got VIP access, you're going straight up to that upper lot and you're going to be able to get in and out much more quickly. So big perks there. Any questions about incentives? Oh, also rumor has it, we may be adding access to our very exclusive babysitter list shortly this year.
Yeah.
At our summer camp, we had some wonderful teen volunteers and we started circulating a babysitter list. So we do have that list and rumor has it that might be released soon as an added perk.
As an added perk incentive. It is a master list of the best of the.
They've been vetted. I mean, they survived 2 weeks of camp. They're good.
Yes, that is the best incentive.
Yes, summer on that Pittsburgh, Durham side, Liz.
We're putting where they live as well. So you'll be able to tell exactly kind of where they are and who has transportation. So we've got you covered, Liz.
All right. Okay, introducing our new events coordinator, Buddy Walk coordinator, Miss Ebony. I will turn it over to you for the resources and tips because honestly, most of these are you. These are the resources you are offering for us. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. So hi, everyone. Again, I'm Ebony, the new event coordinator for Buddy Walk, and it's been a joy to be here, and I'm excited to make the day just everything it should be. Some resources and tips that we have is our Facebook group, the NCDSA Buddy Walk Captain's Corner. In there, we have templates that you can use when fundraising, We have fundraising tips. We have all types of advice and guidance in there that you can check out. Our weekly incentives that we do. So be sure to check into the Facebook group or ask for an invite if you're not in there. We'll make sure you get in there. We have our team captain resources on Pledge It, our lovely Pledge It. I know we've been having a few learning curves, learning pains with Pledge It, but I do have a video that I've emailed out as well as a brochure that can help you guide through that team and navigate through that team page. If you haven't received it, definitely give me a shout and I will get it out to you. And then I have my virtual hours every Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. to help support you as well with a meeting link on Teams. But you could definitely drop in a question or anything in the Facebook group, and I'll be sure to answer them there as well. Yep. And that's what I have.
Thank you. And as Ebony mentioned, for anybody coming back, I'm sure you noticed this, but DS Connects does not exist anymore, honestly. So we ended up moving over to Pledge It this year, like a lot of other DSAs throughout the country. So many have been using it for a while. So it's been a year of kind of growth and change to move on to that new platform. But Ebony's been helping us along with that. So that's great. I found it pretty easy to use. It was not a big learning curve for me. So hopefully you're finding about the same, but we're always here to support you if you run into any trouble. Great. Thanks, Ebony. Okay. Right before we get into this, Betsy John, did we have anything that we haven't addressed yet in the chat? Any questions or comments?
Nope, just another reminder, work for that 10,000 level. Amber gave the reminder, you can also pick up your team members. So when you're getting those sponsors and they're coming to the Buddy Walk, you can then pick them up in your ride. Great thought. Just had to share it out loud.
Awesome. All right. So
Cindy
I
asked
will
what the deadline is for incentive. She just put that in there.
Yep,
Cindy, on
great
the
question.
incentive sheet, which is on, you can also access that on Pledge It. It has dates for those that have requirements. So for example, to be on the t-shirt, I think we put 9/24 is the
24.
deadline.
Yep.
I can actually, I'm going to go as long as I can. My
We're gonna
deadline
stretch it. Yeah.
for the shirts is the 29th. So I'm going to try and get people in until the very last second. Same thing goes with sponsors. I'm going to take sponsors up until the very last moment and give them every incentive I still can. If I can still get a sign made for them, they're going to get the sign. If I can still, get them, whatever the case may be, I'm going to try to do that. There will be some things that I will have already ordered and won't be able to do. The biggest is probably going to be t-shirts. So that will be ordered at the very end of September. If they want to be included in that, that would be the deadline. But if they want to come in after that, we will do anything we can to appease them and make that work for them.
I'm just gonna put out there again that this is our last year that we can pie the president. So again, I think we
Oh,
should,
can you say that a little louder?
incentive.
Do I hear there is still pieing the president on the table? Has that been announced at the board meeting, Amber? Can I get clarification from at least one other board member? Can I get a second on that? Second, we need some incentives. We need some incentives. I see a smile on that face.
Like Heather's on, Vicky's on. I mean, Jeff,
All right.
I mean, he did say it was okay last year, so
I know we're extending. What is it here?
I'm getting older. I don't know if I can handle it.
I think we'll throw it to G-Man. I bet you G-Man would take one for the team. If
Yeah,
we can
he
take
would.
over Team
He
Library.
definitely would. Yeah.
We can get it. Jeff would agree to be beside said son for pie in the face.
Oh, that's a great incentive. Yes. Pieing the president. I do like it. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Micah, who is literally going to have a baby in a matter of days. So we are extra thankful to have her on this evening as she awaits her little boy coming any minute now. Although I think he should wait until the 12th of September because that's what I picked in the office pool today. So Micah, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us a little recap.
My mom thinks the 7th too, so we'll see. So basically, I'm just gonna kind of summarize everything that we kind of talked about tonight. for fundraising, just kind of consider your resources, think outside the box, think of, and just move on with, but that it's okay. And hopefully, next year, if you don't get them this year, you can get them next year. Create up the hype, make it happen, advertise on social media. I think social media has just been so powerful. So really kind of take advantage of that. And just kind of like thank them also on social media. I kind of liked what Jeff said about just kind of giving them that when they do decide if they want to sponsor you. Then just kind of recruiting team members, friends and colleagues, and just kind of encouraging them to kind of help you and fundraise as well, I think is very helpful. And then virtual participation. So if they can't come in person, have them rep online. That's kind of what this whole thing is about, just kind of just touching as many people as we can. And then inviting new and other people, if they're not comfortable to create their own team, to just come and join your team, and other friends, teachers, things like that, other connections that you have. Engaging in community sponsors. So just kind of inviting people into your story and kind of share your story and your experience and your, this. And I think that makes a huge difference. Organization. I really liked that, Jeff was saying he uses an spreadsheet, and I think that's probably a fantastic way to go, just kind of so you can stay organized and keep track of
technology
to kind of help you. Do what?
Michael, we lost you for a second. You froze. We heard the spreadsheet part, and then I think you froze.
No. Then just kind of roping your friends and family to kind of help you in. Kind of just share your pledge it on social media too, and get your QR codes and all of the things. And that's really kind of, I think, it.
Yeah, so we will share this as well as the recording after, like I said, so you can refer back to any of this. But I wanted to give a quick shout out to a team captain who's on here who doesn't know that I was going to mention this. So hopefully I'm not putting you on the spot too much, Liz. But last year, I remember Liz coming and kind of saying, oh gosh, fundraising is not like not my thing. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try. And she ended up getting our most creative fundraiser award last year. She is an amazing crafter, and she, I'm going to say the wrong term. I hope it was knit. Liz, please tell me if it's crochet or whatever. I don't know the difference. She made a gorgeous hat, and she had made the chevrons kind of into the side of this beautiful hat, and she had raffled that off. And so that was one of her big
on this year's hat right now. So if anybody, Vicky won last year, can pick Vicky's name out, but I am planning on doing that again.
And I wore it all over Scotland. It's the best hat ever.
I want to say, if we'll ask her to lift her hands, it's probably in there being made as we speak.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's right here.
I knew it would be.
Yeah.
But that's what I did want to just recap again, the variety of be creative, be you, spread the message. And thank you, Tran family, just remind us to bring people into the story, because that's the bigger message of having a kid change their major because of an impact of a cousin. That is the bigger message and the bigger story, the dollars, but just the community. So I just want to thank everybody, panel and all, for being here tonight.
Yeah. Same. Before we wrap up, does anybody have any questions or any comments that you wanted to add in to share with the group just before we finish tonight? Yeah, Jeff.
I just want to say, if you're listening to this, like if you're a newer team or haven't done this a lot, if you're listening to this recording and you're just kind of getting started with this, if you think your $300 or $600 isn't going to matter, I can tell you, when you look at the fundraising dollars at the end of the day, all of those teams that raise those amounts of money add up to a very large sum that helps this organization run. And so don't think that if you can't make some huge splash that it's not important. Every dollar counts. And, you know, everybody out there trying to fundraise, man, it's awesome what you're doing.
And just to put that money matters, $300 is 3 families getting welcomed. We had 14 in July, 8 in August, kicking off September. It funds our learning program. That is a statewide run organization, a 10-month program to build capacity. So $300 not only adds up, it goes a long way for our families. So thank you for that reminder too, Jeff.
Cindy just had a question in the chat, and I'm so glad she said this because she reminded me. She was talking about templates, like artwork, that sort of thing, so that she can use that for her fundraising. Yes, check the Captain's Corner. I think that's the best source of those, but Alyssa's working on something new right now. Amy, was it to thank there's a new template that's going in the next few hours, I think. What's that?
Calendar, like the sponsor a day for the calendar.
Yep, it's going to be a sponsor day calendar. She has thank you templates, sponsorship. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, grab those. It's great. Alyssa's very talented. She makes Canva work in ways that I absolutely cannot. So I highly recommend grabbing all of that.
Lickety split. And also, I did want to shout out, Cindy said her and a family friend for birthdays are doing those Facebook fundraisers. Don't forget to send those totals over to Amy or Ebony so it can go towards your team total. Those do trickle in a little bit slower, but are still a great fundraising tool that can bring in some dollars. That did come through the chat.
And ask for company matches. I know we didn't cover that, but that's something I'm trying to remind folks of. If you happen to know that your friends and family are at places that might have a company match, which they should always ask, you never know, but definitely have them, you know, remember to check into the company match. A lot of companies have made that a pretty simple process now for them to be able to do. So it's easy money for, you know, that they get to contribute to us as well without them having to, you know, having that come out of their own pocket. All right, great. Well, this is awesome. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for everything you do. To all of our speakers, you are amazing. Thank you so much for devoting so much of your time and energy to giving back to this organization. To all of the captains, same thing. We appreciate you so much. It's, you know, it takes a village for sure, a large village, and you all are it. So thank you for everything. And if you need us, you know where to find us. Please let us know, you know, how we can support you in this, because we're in it together. Otherwise, we will see you.
Show us those
on
muscles. I think we're
October.
ready. It's the final countdown. Let's go, NCDSA families. Let's go. I'm the extra one, just in case you didn't know.
No, you're the shy one. All right. Thanks,
Should have kept my
everybody.
name as Christy.
Thank you all.